Hello, beautiful souls. I'm so excited to be making another video for you. Recently, I moved to California. Some of you may know that and some of you may not. I did leave my hometown kind of abruptly. I didn't mean to not say any farewells. But with the virus and with everything going on and the fact that I knew I wanted to go somewhere at some point, move somewhere, and the opportunity presented itself and everything was telling me and pushing me to go, and I knew it was, with the virus, a bit of a now or never type situation. So I dug really deep and I listened to God and any bit of guidance that I was getting from like angels and angelic realms. Like, I pay attention to numbers and synchronicities and things like that. But I knew it was time, and so I took the leap, and I can't explain how happy that I've been. You know, we've even been in lockdown over here, but I've just been so happy, and I know that I'm going to be able to grow and blossom here, and I know that many of my dreams are going to come true. So yeah, I apologize if I didn't get to you. Things have just been really busy, and even social media and getting back to people who have contacted me. I've just been settling in here in the last 2 weeks. I just got here 2 weeks ago today, I think. And so I've just been kind of trying to relax and take it easy, because that's what this time is about. You know, we are being kind of cut off from what we're used to, and we're being put in a position to find other things to do. In my opinion, to draw nearer to our soul and our center, and to ground ourselves and spend time with our families and think about what we can do to help change the world together and as just one individual. And I encourage you to think as big as you can, and then also think about everything it really takes to go within, because I think people can meditate well for about 10 to 30 minutes, I think. And then a lot of people end up falling asleep. A lot of people end up just agitated by their thoughts that won't go away, and just different things on the mind. Especially right now, there's a lot of things. I would say social media is the biggest thing, because social media is owned by big corporations, and they literally do design their system so that when you do pay attention to one thing, you're gonna get a flood of that same thing. Just, you're gonna get flooded by that information. And it's interesting how when you do more positive stuff, that negative stuff can still make its way in there, but positivity on your social media is going to be key, because a lot of this information that they're spreading about the virus is simply not true. And maybe you're going to think, yes it is, or there's this, there's that. Well, like, most of it is not true. Most of it is not true, and most of it is literally put on social media to make you fear And when you feel any emotion, your whole being feels it. Your whole being succumbs to that emotion. So when you feel good and you feel happy, you feel it in your whole being. When you feel fear, you feel it in your whole being. And what that does is it really does take a toll on your immune system. You have a plant and you speak nicely to it, and then you have another plant and you speak mean words to it. That plant does not become as prosperous as the healthy plant. So when you're feeding yourself good information, you're going to be surprised at how much changes within you and outside of you. So, and that's where my Gaia Speak page on Facebook comes in. You can join my page, and then you can even like the pages that I am sharing from, and you can grow your horizon for positivity in that way. You can, take bits and pieces. So I will attach that page again to the link or to the video, and then you can join that page. And like what we do on that page is we are just spreading positivity like fire, and I love it. I just love it. It gives me energy. It makes me smile. I know it makes other people smile. I post tons of pictures of landscapes and different places that you can travel around the world. I post pictures of beautiful animals that haven't even been seen before. I post beautiful quotes. Different beautiful people are bringing in their own spin to things. There are writers, there are poets, there are different people posting different beautiful things. It's just all positivity and high frequency, and that's where we want to stay, is in that high frequency area. And high frequency doesn't always mean, sometimes I would get this mixed up, it doesn't always mean hyper or ecstatic. It definitely adds to it, and in a lot of ways makes it even better when excitement is added to it. But high frequency is just like, we all have a frequency, and when we're really sad, our frequency is really low. And when we're just kind of medium, it's at a medium place. And when it's high, we're really happy. We have gratitude. We just feel really inside ourselves. We feel really alive. And that's what high frequency is about. And so in order to stay in high frequency, which is where you want to stay for as much time as possible, so that you can eventually, stay there and work it into your muscle memory, you feed yourself positivity. And you keep coming back to that mindset, and you appreciate the little things. You become engaged with life. You love people. You open your heart space. You give without, you do deeds and you do things without wanting something in return. You just do it for the simple purpose of feeling good. You take walks in nature. You take everything in. You study a photo. You study the details. You enjoy the whole process of everything, of every moment. And that's what it begins to feel like. And in the beginning, it's just little bits and pieces of feeling the high frequency, and then as time goes on, it's more and more and more. And being in alignment and being in high frequency is how you stay on your path. You stay keeping on your path, and you keep making decisions that lead you to where you want to be. And so all of these videos are basically lining themselves up to explain how to do this. When I was really little, I wanted everyone to have peace, I wanted everyone to have happiness, and I wanted everyone to be good to each other. And so I would wish for peace on earth on my birthday cakes. Even as a child, I knew that the whole world really needed peace. And as I got older, as time went on, I noticed that not much was changing, and I really did notice it. And what I did is right at 3 years old, I went into ballet, and I would go there every day. I was just obsessed with it. It made me so happy. I did it until I was 18, and then I went to Mississippi to a university where I studied for just a year, and then I came home, and then I began a pre-professional program in New York. I did that for almost 2 years. When I was in New York, I had some really bad health problems that led me to have to go back home. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't move, I couldn't do what I needed to do while I was in New York City, and it was just a lot of stuff manifesting inside of me, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I was going to a bunch of different doctors, trying to figure out what medication I needed to be on, and I was on probably 6 at one time. And I remember the second that when I went back, the whole time I felt like I was in a fog, like everything was duller, everything, like my whole reality was different from a medication. And eventually, while I was there, they told me, well, something on your blood test says that you might have Lyme's disease. I was like, I might have Lyme's disease? Okay, well. So then I did go home, and I started to get healthier. Everything started to fall back into place, and I was like, okay, I actually think it was all just stress. Stress can do so much to your body, and then I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I couldn't even barely put one foot in front of the other half the time. So I came back to Minot. I got a job as a receptionist, and then I started teaching dance, and then I went to aesthetic school, and I was teaching while I was doing that. While I was an esthetician, probably about 5 years ago now, I did fall into an addiction to an antipsychotic medication. I got a hold of a little bit of it, and then the next thing you know, I'm going to a doctor trying to get what I need, and I was addicted to that for 3 years, and I kind of kept it under wraps for the most part, but then it got to a point where it was really starting to affect everyone around me, and then I got into some relationships that I fell kind of further in. At the time, I just didn't have any business getting into relationships. I don't blame myself or anyone for anything. It happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. I am sorry for people that I've hurt along the way. But this is, my journey. It's my story. It's my truth. And I just wanted to share a little bit of backstory with you guys. I'm no stranger to probably anything that anyone has been through. If I haven't been through it myself, I have heard about it. I've seen it. And these experiences are what have made me such a well-rounded person today, to be honest with you. Because when you take your darkness and you transform it into light, nobody can say anything to you. And so now, after my last relationship, which was really traumatic, it was trauma after trauma after trauma, and it was, like 3 years. Over 3 years, I had one traumatic experience, then another, and it led me to this point where I was just like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, I almost had lost every shred of who I was. And I began to see it as, well, I got home, and it all started to flood to me, and I was, at my parents' house, 27 years old, like, what am I doing? What is going on? What have I done? And I started to see it as an opportunity to recreate myself. Because now that so many things that I honestly didn't even want to be there in my personality had been stripped away, and I now had the opportunity to recreate. That is powerful. Hitting your bottom or hitting any point in your journey and realizing that you just want to change and transform and that you have the power to do so, and believing that you do, there is no limit.